What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday. What is happening? I hope you all had a really good weekend. I hope you do something super fun this week. It's going to be a great week of learning, and I think we're really close to being done with school. I think 4 weeks left. 4 weeks. Can you believe that? So, hold on tight. We're going to learn about the Russian Revolution Part 2 today. So, if you didn't check out Russian Revolution Part 1, go check that out. But Part 2 is up for today. So, let's get going on this Monday. All right. So, Russian Revolution. Where we left off is World War I. Russia was super unhappy with it. Tsar Nicholas was in charge at this point in time, and he just refused to take Russia out of the war. So Russia's involvement in World War I proved to be a super fatal blow to Tsar Nicholas with the support of Russia. Already, he really didn't have the support of Russia, but this was the fatal blow to his support of Russia. Tsar Nicholas refused to pull Russia out of the war and went to the Eastern Front to personally take control of his army. So he thought, well, we're not winning, so we might as well have me go take control of the army because I know what I'm doing, right? I'm just the czar, but I know what I'm doing. So he goes to actually take control of his own army's front lines. For this, he's going to leave his wife, Alexandria, in charge of the day-to-day life in Russia. His wife's a little kind of crazy, but they have a son who's a hemophiliac, and she hires this guy named Rasputin to actually try to heal that. He's a mystic, and people think that Rasputin was really controlling the Russian government at this point in time, and enough people believe that Rasputin was controlling the royal family that they actually had him assassinated so that he wouldn't be in control of Russia anymore. You can see the picture of him being assassinated in the middle there, of him helping the wife on the left-hand side, and of Tsar Nicholas taking control of the Russian army on the right-hand side. What's going to happen next is by early 1917, citizens are going to start rioting. They are going to not be happy that they are still in this war. So they're going to riot to end the monarchy first, and they're going to riot to try to get out of World War I. It is devastating the country that was already pretty devastated. In March, Tsar Nicholas II is going to be abdicated of the throne, and the Duma is going to create a provisional or a temporary government for Russia. So remember, the Duma was the government that was put into place before all of World War I happened. And Tsar Nicholas is the one who just straight up ignored what was going on. So Lenin's actually going to come back. So Vladimir Lenin, in our last lesson, ended up fleeing Russia because he was scared of getting executed by the Tsar. Now that the Tsar is out of place, he is going to come back with this message of peace, land, and bread. And it is going to help him gain popularity among all of the people of Russia. So he's going to have these people called the Red Guard or the Bolshevik. The Bolshevik is super Russian, obviously. It is going to be the people that he's going to lead, and it is going to seize control of the provisional government, and it's going to declare themselves as the new leaders of Russia. So Lenin comes in, he becomes in charge of this group of people called the Bolshevik or the Red Guard, and he is going to seize control of Russia. He is going to execute the rest of the royal family, the Romanovs. He is going to end their 300-year rule as czars in Russia by executing and arresting the rest of the Romanov family. So the Bolshevik come in, they take control of the government, and then they end up arresting or killing the rest of the czars in Russia. Next, we are going to have Vladimir Lenin. He is going to just lead a crazy revolution within Russia. Lenin ordered all farmland to be given over to peasants. He is going to give control of factories to workers, And Lenin is going to sign a truce with Germany that is going to give up a huge amount of territory that Russia owned over to Germany. So check this out. This is going to be the land that Russia is going to give over to Germany at this point in time, which is a pretty significant plot of land. That is a huge amount of land given over. The Russian Revolution led to a huge civil war between the Bolshevik or the Red Army and the White Army. So the White Army is going to consist of the people who wanted a new czar, the people who wanted democracy, or the people who wanted the land back. It didn't really matter what you wanted. If you didn't want Lenin to be leading the Red Army against you, you were part of the White Army. So Britain, France, and the United States also supported this White Army and got Russia back in the world and wanted to get Russia back in the World War I. Obviously, if Germany had won that front and actually got more power, they are going to be able to hold out longer. And the United States, Britain, and France, they are all wanting them to get back in. After 3 years of fighting, though, the Red Army is going to win, and Lenin is going to become the unquestioned leader of Russia. This is obviously going to be no contest if the people that he is leading are going to win. So in 1922, Lenin is going to rename Russia into the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the USSR, as we're going to know it for now. So he's going to come in, rename Russia the USSR, and he is going to create a socialist government that we know is now communist. And he's actually going to create something called the Communist Party, which ruled over the Soviet Union as a dictatorship. In 1922, Lenin's going to suffer a stroke and actually die. There's going to be a struggle for power now inside Russia because it was a dictatorship. So when a dictator dies, another dictator needs to step up and fill his spot. So after a huge battle and kind of debate on who is going to take over, in 1927, so 5 years later, Joseph Stalin is going to maneuver out his rivals. He's going to gain control of the Soviet Union. All right, so this is where things get kind of crazy. So Stalin is going to not do anything by his name. He's going to do things really quickly. So he is going to quickly create this totalitarian state, which is going to just be a state that has total control of the people and the government and everyone's lives. Everything that goes on in their lives, he is going to take control of personally. He is also going to lead this thing called the Great Purge. He's going to eliminate potential rivals that he might have within the government to take over his Communist Party. And he is going to execute 8 to 13 million people. We don't know exactly how many people, but it's right around 8 to 13 million people. Can you imagine? We're getting upset about 40,000 people dying from the coronavirus, but this guy went around and executed millions of people in the name of he didn't want to be overthrown, which is so nuts. That is crazy to think about. So lastly, Stalin is going to create this thing called the 5-year plan. So the 5-year plan is going to overhaul the economy and try to make Russia the strongest nation possible. So he's going to seize control of the economy, set high production goals, set quotas on steel and oil and electricity. He's going to try to dramatically improve the Soviet Union's industry and modernize their military. Remember, during the World War I, they were pretty far behind everyone in industrialization. Stalin is going to see that, and he is going to jump as hard into the industrialization and factory period that he can possibly do. He is going to create railroads and this industry of quotas that were so hard to meet that people were just working themselves to death trying to create this military and industrial power that Stalin really wanted. Obviously, this is going to lead to the next World War, and I hope you guys know why it was so important to learn about communism and where it came from. So we'll be getting into World War II a little bit later this week, But there is a little bit that it goes on between this World War I and World War II. So we have the Roaring Twenties that are going to happen right after this, and then we have the Great Depression, where the economy is just going to tank here in the United States. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, but I just really wanted you guys to know the origins of communism and what happened during the Russian Revolution. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great Monday. Go out and do something like always, and have a good week. See ya.